Hello, our awesome audience.
Hello, hello.
We made it in. We were trying to figure out a couple little technical things. So we're here. Make sure I silence this cell phone while we're here. Oh yeah, it's on. It's good. I wanted to start this evening with just a trigger warning because we're all so happy to see you guys, but we also are kind of talking about some really heavy stuff. And if you're not in the mood or if you need to take a break, please take a break. Sometimes our own lives are a bit heavy and we want to take a break, so we don't blame you guys for stepping back for a moment. Right, Liz?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But don't leave yet, because I have a little surprise for our friend here. I don't have any cute music queued up, but it is her 1 year of sobriety anniversary, and we are celebrating. That's a choice she made that has helped her life in ways that she will tell you about, I'm sure. But for tonight, we are celebrating with some dulce de leche in honor of our friend Liz and her strength. So this is for you, even though you can't taste it. Very proud of you for making up your mind to change something and then sticking with it.
Absolutely. And yes.
Okay, so make a wish and I'll blow it out for you.
Got it.
Okay. Ta-da! We have some special candles going in the background. We also launched a store today for Degraded Daughters, and you guys can find it. I think it should be up on the page by now. They approve all the products, but it's definitely up on the fourth wall page. I think it's on our YouTube now in our store, but there's some really cute little merch things like a Don't Drop the Body candle that our lovely Juliana helped us decorate that cute little Ouija board design. That was the thumbnail for tonight. So we got a lot of adorable things over there. Didn't you like the pink robe, Liz, which you hate pink?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of pink, but the candle was hilarious. The Ouija idea, I'm not a candle person, but it made me kind of want one. The nightgown, yes, just because it's pretty, it's pink, and it reminded me of the Barbie camisole from the store.
Totally. It's like Barbie pink colors. The I also have a candle obsession. I have to really stay out of the aisles when I go to Marshall's and Ross and stuff. So it was fun to create our own, and it was based on something very real to us, which is dropping bodies. I don't know if everybody even will get that unless they kind of follow SPTV closely. Do you want to tell? Would you mind telling people what that means?
So for me, dropping bodies, leaving your suitcase. So
what kind of suitcase?
Well, that the body is a suitcase, and you're
like a meat suitcase.
Yeah, because that's unfortunately how it was always described to me. You were a meat suitcase, and you were just dropping it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like a meat body you have this lifetime, and then you just go pick up another meat body. Go to the hospital, whatever. So the concept of dropping the body to us was not that big of a deal. So when people died, it was a way to not really grieve them properly, because you just thought, oh, they're on to their next journey. See you next time around. And it wasn't like loss of a life. It was like, I'll see you next time. And they always think that if you're a Scientologist who's, probably clear or higher, you're definitely going to come back and choose to use the tech again if this planet hasn't been cleared, right? So you'd come back to a Scientology body and pick it up and then be born to a Scientology family, which is wild. These are all choices that were put on us before we even came out of the womb, no?
Yep.
But my point being that it is easy to think that, it's just like another lifetime. So when you disconnect from your own children, your only children, you're like, it's cool. I'll have another family next lifetime. I don't want to dramatize being a meat body or a meat suitcase. This is just one of many lifetimes. So it's kind of horrible. It's like the opposite of YOLO. I'm very pro YOLO because you never know when your last day is. Like, that's just real life. I have been going through a lot of personal emotions. My friend, her death and murder has been coming up a lot lately in the things that I've been dealing with, and having to come to terms with that, like, everybody talks about things afterwards, and it's very hard to help in times of crisis and like know what to do. And we just try to make everything positive for everybody else. And sometimes I do that as like a caretaker. I'll try to, like, I'll feel one way, but for me, it's more important to make someone else feel better. So I kind of will like go be like, oh, I'm just going to make whatever I'm going through a little bit lighter so that they don't have to feel bad and ruin their day. It's like that toxic positivity thing. Like, I'm actually having a shitty day. I'm thinking about this really dark thing, but if I say it, it might just like kind of freak everybody out or make them sad. And I don't want to do that. So I'll just hold it to myself. And that's why we're so passionate about mental health, because we know specifically what happens when you hold it all to yourself, right?
Yeah. You go boom. Well, gradually you go boom, but I mean it's more along the lines of they always so like in school let's put regular school. So in regular school they try to tell you you can only take on as much as you can take on. But then for me I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it, but it was more along the lines all I could think of growing up when people would say the body suitcase or my grandma died, it's okay. You'll see him again. You'll see him again. My nana died. It's okay. I'll see her again. No, she's not really dead. She's in the FBI. She's not really dead. Like what? And then when you realize that a lot of the stuff that you grew up being told was like, for lack of better terms, hog shit. Yeah. we have to laugh about the meat suitcase.
Totally. The reason I bring that up, honestly, I was watching a video that Tori Magoo made. Tori Magoo 44. I put it in the comments earlier. I'm going to put it in the video description too, because Tori's a wonderful woman. I've met her a few times, and Spanky and all those awesome legendary women who came before us at a time when SPTV didn't exist, and they were out here wilding by themselves. With Paulette Cooper was before them, so there's a lot of really strong women who came before us, and I thought, I'm just going to study what she has to say because I used to watch her old videos. And it's always interesting how, because Scientologists follow the tech, like, that, like, you can't
Yep.
change the tech other than David Miscavige and how he kind of squirrels it, if you will, when you change it. But aside from that, they really like don't change their policies on what they do. So this video I was watching was from 9 years ago, and the Office of Special Affairs, OSA, which is Scientology's intelligence agency, whatever, like their own intelligence agency is
Yeah,
what people
their
call
own
it.
super intelligence.
Yeah. They had already been on my Facebook somehow, and I didn't know how because it wasn't a time when I was a public figure. It was a time when I was actually really monitoring my connections super close and making sure that nobody understood that, yeah, maybe mentally I'm not involved in Scientology, but I can't lose my family because it would be dangerous for me right now. I'm not mentally prepared for the real world, and like I just need my mom, so people do that, and then they'll maybe speak out later. That's okay too, because those people on the inside are really valuable as well to our whole thing, to just hear what's going on sometimes. So today, this list came out on the Scientology moneyproject.com from Jeffrey Augustine, our very own Charlie. We are his SP angels because we've connected somewhat recently and just found a very similar goal intergenerationally, that there's not too many people willing to be attacked by Scientology for their whole last few decades. There's not too many people who just keep doing it. It's really hard because they have the resources and they just want you to be quiet, right?
Yep.
So he dropped this document today that is a OSA volunteer list from 2006, and it kind of like cracks me up because he it's as if it's like all my parents' friends and or everybody who my mom has like done business with over the years. Like I just know, I would say 80% of these names, and it's not like it's surprising, but it also, stop, Goldie, you're making me blush. It's not like it's surprising that all these names are on the list because they're people who we thought would be, but there's more to it. So the thing about the list and all these names are, yeah, these are the people who we grew up with. These are our second parent figures. These are our teachers. These are our chiropractors, whatever, right? So the list was fascinating because it was actually OSA's own internal notes on these people. And we don't usually get to see that. There are people who I know who are on the list, who have since been activated by OSA. So they didn't even know they were on any list, by the way. So it's almost like if you look at this list being dropped as like I hate to say it, but like some kind of who's the spies or, some kind of thing like that. You put together how that all works. It's almost as if these people are being named as spies, right? But maybe they don't even know that they've been identified as that, some of them. So if you read through the comments, some of the things are outrageous, like has been safeguarding the government for years or whatever that says. I don't know. We're going to pull it up and I'll show it up. I'll show it. But wow, it's fascinating that this is an OSA internal sheet on people. So it is how they categorize them. One of them even said, so-and-so has done something political / is black. Like that was their note as how they could utilize them. And to me, that's horrible. And the way that they're categorizing their army, I guess. And I also wanted to point out that they sometimes have OSA, like in Tori Magoo's case, they ask people to do activities for OSA. So not everybody is in the Sea Org. These are most of them public Scientologists. This is the OSA volunteer list, right? So these are people who have normal businesses, who are the Nancy Cartwrights or the, people who are living their lives, who Scientology wanted to activate. When Tori Magoo made that video that I was talking about, she had discussed internet OSA, and this was 9 years ago. And that was how I realized I was busted, because there were so many people going around. They were Facebook policing, like, hey, just so you know, you're friends with this person, they've been declared. And it was like a really big thing for a while. That's how my friend's parent actually got out. They said, well, I don't care if they've been declared, they're my friend. And that started a couple things. But my point being that OSA has been online for way longer than anybody realizes. They've been on the ex-Scientology message boards since the 90s. They've been on Xenu.net. They've been on Facebook. They've gotten so good at Facebook. So even if it's, you're not accepting new people, it's almost like, what's the point? Honestly, there's people in there probably who I would never delete. I consider them my friends. They could still be writing reports and they're ending up in the Office of Special Affairs. And I just don't care. I think same with you, right?
Correct. Pretty much. You're going to do what you're going to do.
So Tori had 3 really cool points in that video that she mentioned are OSA's top 3 things that they do. One is they want to create the distraction. And she goes over it more. It's a 6-minute video. But yes, exactly. This person is an attacker. You need to remove them from your friends list. That was the total thing that was going on for a long time. So number 1, OSA's mission is distraction. So remember how they never defend, always attack?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's some things in the news right now that have been happening, masters in trial, things like that they want to get other eyes on. Maybe, oh, is Tom Cruise leaving Scientology? No, he's never left. This is always just like some kind of PR spin to talk about Tom Cruise instead of maybe the masters in trial. At least in our eyes, that's how it kind of seems like it. The second thing that they do is degrade, and to degrade any single person who leaves, any apostate, right? So that's their actual wordage, apostate. They literally go for what they call us bitter apostates, just because we've decided to have freedom of speech. So that's their second mission. Their third is to slime the area so that nobody goes near it, so that everybody's discredited. And then you're like, oh, this is like so much drama. I just don't even want to be part of it. Right.
Yep.
They've been doing this stuff a long time. It's super well documented. It's super out there. Paulette Cooper's story is freaking a really wild one. If anybody has the time, I listen to it on audio when I'm driving sometimes because it is fascinating. But at the same time, it has been documented from so many people. Like, that's a very well-known one, but it just has happened over the years, right? So my point in saying all of this, they have perfected the art of victim shaming. We knew that our whole lives, that we just couldn't be a victim. We had to be cause or whatever. That's how they phrase it, But that being said, when you're going through something and they come in as subscribers or whatever, like in the real world, Liz, has anybody, when you've told them that you're a cult survivor or you've lost your family or you're trying to get your dad out of, Scientology, has anyone ever been rude or not super supportive in real life?
In real life, since all of this happened, a few people have.
Like how?
People that I know that are finally, like, people that I didn't tell, like, hey, I grew up in Scientology, things like that.
Yeah. Like they're
people
hurt
that
you kept a secret.
they're like, I don't know if they're hurt, but they are definitely so very like I honestly thought I was going to have so much backlash when I started doing this, and I'm surprised every day by the amount of support.
Yeah. I mean, my kind of point is that when we see weird things happening or us being attacked constantly and then like weird people coming in the chat, honestly, everybody should be able to have their own opinion, but not in a space that we're all recovering and we're
Oh,
going through, some of us, active trauma. So it sticks out to me when I see people saying really rude things, because in real life that just doesn't happen. Like, it's not how a human usually responds to me when I tell them what I've been through, if I can muster up the courage to not seem like a freak show alien. And like you said, a lot of people don't ever know what I went through. I've only had to bring it up due to um, why is that person, literally yesterday I was talking to you, I got followed. Um, I don't know if I was followed, I was harassed at the gas station. And remember, I got out of the car, got my gas, and this trippy, clean cut person walked by, gave me eyes, and went in the store, came out, never got gas, got a bottle of water, walked out. And I thought, whatever, just whatever. And I thought, well, I'll just go see where they went, because it's like, or where he went, it's like a hot day and they were not just pulling away. That would be weird. So the second I look up, there's the passenger of the car has their cell phone on me. And so I pulled out my cell phone, got out, started filming them right back. And then, I have all that. I have license plate. It's almost just like at this point, it's so freaking well documented over time that they do this. They use numerous money sources to hide it, whatever. That's why Jeff's blog and this kind of information is so critical, honestly, to the takedown, is because everybody has a little part of what they do best. And when we can get like facts about what they do, um, it's awesome. But that being said, it's very hard to just go about your life, be harassed, possibly by Scientology, which would make sense. There's a history of it after speaking out, and then go about your normal life and try to be like genuine. Because then I go into work and I'm like, oh, yeah. Everyone's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. Like, do they really? I don't want to talk about this kind of stuff at work. That's like, I can't be talking about Scientology all the time, right? Like, I don't want to be. I want to be talking about it here with you guys and healing out loud and healing with my friends. And then, so it's a challenge to remain authentic and go through this thing where they isolate you, and right?
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the best thing. There's no best thing about it. It's the isolation for me, where you're almost feeling separate from things you once considered normal, and now I just want to get it all out. Like, fine, you want to do this? Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a great point. So your United Front is way bigger and way stronger than their Scientology front. I honestly think this past year, as channels have exploded and as more stories got out, they're in a panic. I completely agree. I think we got to keep the big picture in mind.
They're still $1 billion corporation.
They're still $1 billion corporation. There's no drop in the bucket for them to just like send over a couple people to harass a couple SPs. It's what they've been doing. And it's so wild that anybody would doubt that. To me, it's almost like that's more maddening than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, one of their main things they want you to do. Liz, what's the EP, the end product of the VFP, valuable final product of fair game?
For you to off yourself. For you
Put
to
it
feel so
bluntly.
alone. Sorry. I could have
No. That's don't. Sorry. That's how it is. I mean, I was going to start with probably to utterly destroy and shudder critics into silence. And then if you didn't say the off yourself, I would say, and what would be a technique that they've been known to employ is making people feel so
Feel
isolated
crazy.
due to gaslighting. And they are like, it bothers me because I understand how they're using psychological principles against us who were never taught psychological principles, who had to go and spend all this extra effort to even learn it, to be able to defend ourselves with just our state of mind being okay. Like, there's no attack. It's just like we survive is the attack. It's like, whoa.
Yes.
Right. I was going to show also this real quick because this is from Jeff's blog. And I know it's really small. It's hard to read, honestly, because it's like a scanned document. But this is what I was discussing. This is from OSA internally. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's really fascinating. And there are people, before I show you the list, there are people who literally have said, when I'm doing these volunteer activities is when I woke up. When I came face to face with the protester made sense, is when I thought, oh my, right? And
Yep.
so sometimes I look at our channels almost as a public service to our sweet friends who have been trapped inside and who may be having to watch our videos and attack us, because if they can just hear a little bit about how people control other people, maybe they'll start to put some things together.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
You know?
and this is a very good point. Smash that like, everybody, and hit subscribe. I'm also broadcasting from a channel I had started a long time ago, and I've been wanting to launch it. I haven't done an official launch or anything, but I think it's just Vanessa LaRose right now. I'm definitely going to be calling it the Gray Zone. So we are going to have the Gray Zone with Vanessa LaRose. It's kind of like a play on the Twilight Zone, but also discussing the gray area between extremes and how we function best there. So let's see here. I will get it all together. So when you see this list, like for me, holy shit, some of these names, Karen Renna, Pat Renna's mom, Sue McFarlane, that's like they literally grew up in that woman's house. Bodie and Jenna.
Yep.
Bartleson, Lindsay, I'm not going to go down this, but I'm just pointing out that every single name is so wild, but because we just recognize it. So it's not like it's that shocking. It's not shocking to us. It's just kind of shocking that Scientology would keep this information on them. So look, is Black an effective public speaker? Like, whoa. She has gotten good products. Duplicates well. So, Liz, you want to tell them what duplicates means?
Not right this second because I'm.
Because you're not duplicating. No worries. It honestly just means understands. But it's just another version of like Scientology speak,
Yep.
Thank you, Marilyn, for putting that in the chat. So all of these things, a non-org volunteer during pickets. So they have them categorized to be spokesperson. ED told, so that's executive director, told her not to monitor sites as she is not OT. Wow. Isn't that wild? That's why I was saying Like, this to me is almost a public service. That they told her not to watch, so not to monitor sites like this, like not to monitor YouTube or anything. So I also want to talk about why that would be. And I'm going to just bring us back. If you guys haven't seen that, please go over to Jeff's blog. It's honestly awesome. There's a lot of really cool documents. I could literally just read it because it's just data. It's not much opinion. It's just like documents. But the reason I know that when you type in Liz Ferris or Vanessa LaRose, they haven't made a who, I mean, that I know of, they haven't made a who is Liz Ferris, who is Vanessa LaRose, right? It's not something that, it's kind of obvious. But there would be other ways that they would discredit us or try to make us look bad if we were trying to, move on with our lives, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why they would do that would be not only to be irritating to us and make us feel like we had to defend ourselves and waste our time by, literally just, it doesn't feel good to like be hearing fake things about you. It just doesn't feel good to have people slander you or harass you in real life when you're going through your day. It's like really tragic and annoying. And then we're just former cult members without our support systems in place. So we're all trying to do the best we can, right? But then we're also trying to make content as this like public service to our loved ones. I mean, you and I specifically. Yeah, I just made my merch store so that hopefully we can do this more and we made our merch store, Alicia and I haven't made one for the other channel. That will be way down the line, but Alicia and I are doing this just to really pay the costs that we've been paying, out of pocket. We just figured out how our paperwork for monetization works. So when we're trying to spend our time to do this, because we love our parents, we love our loved ones who are in there, and then we're also having to deal with these attacks and stuff. First of all, that's a lot. It distracts us. If all of OSA's things are distraction, degrading, and then slime the area, like you kind of just have to look at everything with a bit of that eye of like, if someone comes in, of course they can disagree. We're not against disagreeing, but if you're going to come in and say something nasty about one of my friends or somebody who's recovering from cult or something blatantly untrue, I just don't want you on the YouTube. Like, we just don't want that in our spaces. It's not a safe space. We're not doing therapy. We're not doing any kind of like healing here other than talking to each other. And that's so far been good enough, right?
Yeah.
But another idea that I had was if my own parents or my own good friends were to stumble upon something like this. So you know how it said on the thing, don't let them look at monitor sites, not OT, not an operating Thetan. That would mean like they don't know how to differentiate SPs from not SPs, meaning like they're not really indoctrinated. So watching us might have an effect on them.
Yep.
And
might wake them up.
Yeah, which is what happened to Tori and quite a few other people along the way. And we also want to keep that in mind. So everything that we're doing, it's not even because we're so hopeful. For me, I believe that my parents will be in there forever. I've had to come to terms with like, I'm going to get a call and they're going to be passed away and I'm going to be sad. And that's just how it ends because of their choices that they've framed as my choices, which is a lot to walk around with and a lot to deal with. And we do it try to do it with grace. Sometimes we don't do it with grace. Sometimes we walk into boulders like I did this week. An actual rock. I walked into an actual rock and hurt myself trying to film for YouTube. But when my mom or dad were to put my name in, they come across me with Karen with these eyes all, and the stand websites that are just talking about these evil people who we heard were evil for years. They told me Karen de la Carriere was evil 9 years ago, and that was straight from Scientology's mouth through my mother's mouth to me. Like, stay away. That woman is no good. You need to remove her from your friends list. So, yeah. Anyway, all that being said, there's a specific reason, there's a purpose. And when we walk around knowing these things and kind of just knowing, like, whatever, it's going to happen, it's honestly part of the way we freaking grew up. You and I have been so prepared for anything, not expecting it to. I got to tell you, it's almost like the final or a final stage of this escape from Scientology is actually believing that they are as evil as the internet says.
As they,
like, literally, we had to be like, is the outside world even telling the truth? And then we're seeing it happen. And I almost want to be like, no, that's not even happening. Like, that's not real. And I'm like, wait, but when I look at just my evidence, like, okay, Tuesday, this man was sitting next to me and then showed up an hour later and was staring at me. Then this man, it's like almost just too much evidence that you are being surveilled to even try to fight yourself anymore.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, and it's like they want you to know. They want you to know.
Okay. There's some good ones here. This is probably comments from the thing. I trust him, but I don't know if I would expose him to invest items. I don't know how he would confront it, but he's becoming better and better. So interesting what an invest item would be, right? He's he's currently out of comm with the org, so I'm not using him until I see this cleared up. Oh my gosh, have you noticed the verbiage? I'm not using him. Oh man. Do we use
Wow,
other
there's
human
so many
beings?
more.
Yeah. I know, it's wild, huh?
Yeah.
But what I wanted to really celebrate, honestly, was that you, despite everything that we're going through since bringing your story forward and me speaking up and deciding that this was our time, have remained sober no matter what the Office of Special Affairs, Scientology, or any haters, just haters, have thought along the way about you. No matter what, you have set your mind to something, you accomplished your goal, and you're not going to drop your body. That would be, Scientology would love that. The reason I kept pushing was because I was like, I literally knew it would be in vain. They'd like bury me under the celebrity center or something and be like, she loved Scientology. Nobody would ever hear my story. Like, it's literally that dark.
Yep. And now you're finally letting go of all of the stories, and we're just, with each story released, I have noticed that I feel so much better.
Good.
But at the same time, I also feel like it was hard to stay. There was some times I thought about, everything that we've gone through, everything that I've gone through in this last year. And the only thing I could tell myself is just, you got this. You got this.
You do.
And I'll be honest, finding out my dad's alive was a little tricky. But the fact that I maintained with my therapist, I maintained with the psychiatrist, I kept up my medications. I've stayed stronger than ever because of it.
Yeah.
So for that, my mental health has been so important to me. I guess I'm just grateful.
Oh, it's so touching. You just made a commitment to yourself and nobody else. I mean, you had support, but you did make a
Mhm.
commitment to your own path. You made a choice and now you're here. And no matter what, they've been trying anything they can our whole lives, not just now. I mean, look, we're not brand new. Like, I don't know why
No.
people act like they need to tell us what Scientology is doing. Like, trust, we had to get out. So
Yeah.
you have to fight fire with fire. And if we hadn't had, like, honestly, that's the secret code, the Da Vinci Code of getting out of Scientology. Like, literally, you have to understand it so well. But then we're the newer generation and we actually like overstand it. We understand newer research too. It's wild that we've had to explain it so much to uh the people on the inside who still think that we're wild for being out here.
Or that
Like, why are you
we're gonna
guys doing
die.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just wild. But hey, that's how it goes. That is how it goes. Oh yeah, this was a good one too. This
Which
was
one?
on the list. I saw this. Ex-Sea Org, ex-Guardian's Office is a licensed private investigator and used to assist on getting PRC, public relations control, data, where to get it, who to contact, and how to read legal documents. I mean, these are the things that are on that list, you guys. Like, so here's the hard part is you can pass over data. Data is hard to get through. It's hard to read. It's like if you can't read it on here, maybe you can't even make out the words. Like, honestly, if we're not out here talking about it, maybe it just, not that it doesn't, it goes into the void and this evidence is important, but like, let's talk about what they're doing. They just released their list of how to utilize. I'm going to say utilize, not use, because utilize
Yeah.
sounds a little bit better to me. How to utilize their internal devotees as an intelligence agent. See, and this is
Yeah.
a religion.
Yeah.
Like, is this where you want to go for your spirituality? Because I don't. I'm done. Even though I loved that hotel culture of like part of the hotel culture, I didn't like the you as a slave hotel culture.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the you as a slave person either once you wake up, you know.
Yeah.
Nor was I
Yeah.
okay with how I treated quite a few people
Yeah.
because it didn't sit right. And
It's,
I was just not going to make it with it sitting the way that it was.
have you been able to bring that stuff out and apologize to anybody who you wanted to? Because I know that's a big step too.
Um I've made some apologies. I know I need to make a lot more. I'm working through therapy to get through all the things that I remember so I can pull up everyone that I feel that I've harmed. Uh, or at least after going through therapy, at least find the things that I've done. So that
Yeah.
way I can apologize to everyone that I need to apologize to now that my mental health is in check, now that my belief system is on the correct path, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And that's just another way that sometimes I think whatever these little missions they have, they kind of end up tearing us apart a little bit because a lot of people will, not a lot of people, sometimes people get upset if people leave Scientology, but then don't specifically apologize to the person who they hurt or who, maybe they saw crimes and they don't want to talk about it or whatever happened. I know that there are many dynamics to leaving the cult, and we're such a small group. So who was whose boss or who was who saluting, who was who calling sir. It all plays into this like post-cult interpersonal dynamics of us all in the social group. And it's honestly like we're a bunch of cult victims recovering, and we could probably use a whole team of help and support. And we are actually doing it for each other. It's quite beautiful. And we just don't like, no distractions are going to be allowed. Like, it's just like, we're going to keep making content. We're going to keep talking about this really wild stuff that they do. Yeah. So anyway, I did see that Laura is about to go live. Goldie mentioned that. Shout out to Goldie.
Nice.
Shout out to Marilyn. Shout out to everyone we love who's here. Alicia,
Absolutely.
thank you for being a supporter in here. I've been seeing you around. To everybody who's got our back and just like here when we pop on, because we pop on at random times because we have to, because we both work a lot.
Yep.
We really appreciate you guys being here. We also appreciate when you watch on the replay. Like, we're not just here, for coffee. We're here to like really talk about some things.
We're here for the coffee and the tea and spilling all of it.
Dude, we're here for the dulce de leche that we celebrate our friends' sobrieties with, because we're proud of them. We're celebrating the positive over here. And yeah, toxic positivity. I don't want to be that one either and not talk about anything important. I think it's important when we talk up, when we have fears and we have suspicions.
True. I will say one thing though. Someone mentioned the other day stable datum on one of the YouTube channels, and
Yeah.
it didn't even dawn on me that not everyone understands our lingo. If I ever say something that is specifically like a word you don't understand, please let me know, because there are times that I don't understand that I'm still speaking a different language.
Yeah.
And I totally appreciate the help, because then hopefully I can get out of talking in a manner that's less culty. Pretty
No,
please.
it's okay. It takes a long time to like figure out, first of all, new words, which I try to help without being like, I'm lecturing you, but I try to just say like, how about we replace this word with this word? And then our brains don't have to think that anymore. But I do have to
Correct.
tell you, something I'm really fascinated about is how language is used to control people, right? So if you have certain words, even the word I was using earlier, YOLO, like if you don't know what that concept means, you don't even get that idea. Like it's more of a concept that came around in 2010s. I even taught it to my dad and he thought it was just funny because he's not YOLO, he's an OT. But he was like trying to be funny and he'd look at me and be like, YOLO. And I'd be like, exactly, right? But that's how, if we understand a concept, it can kind of alter how we think. So what's interesting to me is that sometimes I've noticed I've gotten so good at not using Scientology words in the real world. But when we get on here and we're talking or we're talking to each other, I cannot help it, because not just because it's sleight of hand, because I cannot describe to you guys what we're talking about without using those words. So the brain is actually in that world and we're talking about it. I think it's the greatest way to explain why it's the us versus them mentality. It's like you speak to the people who know your language. And that's why we're powerful here, is we speak their language. And we are here for anybody who can't translate with real world words yet. It's hard.
Absolutely.
It's actually really hard.
It is really hard. But it just, because there's another language and everything else, just like you said, it's so easy for us to talk like because we grew up there, we understand them. But sometimes I forget that not everybody speaks the language. So
Yeah.
I think everybody in the room understands the whole conversation, but really they're feeling like they don't understand what words are coming out of our mouths.
And then And then they add another layer of like, then they mince your words in court. Like, look what happened with all the Jane Does and stuff. So not only are we like having a hard time explaining ourselves, but if we use too many words or use words that we don't really mean, but we're trying to just get ourselves across or whatever, people will always take it, twist it. Investigators, journalists, reporters. I mean, we don't know certain people's integrity once you're a public figure. And that has, there's been people who haven't had integrity ruin verdicts from what I've understood. So in these situations, our words, that's why I'm like, I had to isolate for so long. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So I'm back. I'm ready to go. I've been preparing for fight. And guess what? This is all just a bull bait. And you know, that's something we know from birth.
Yes.
And I know that this is weird, but guess what? Disassociation has been our worst thing. But guess what? It's also a power that we possess. And I'm going to turn it into something good because we can't even help it. We've been doing TRs our whole life. So we can disassociate at ease. And your words fly off of me and fly back to you. And that's just a bull bait. Everything's just a bull bait. And when we think about it in those concepts, like how they taught us, it's almost easier to fight back. Or like not
Yeah.
fight back, but like just remain standing.
Or stand taller.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just makes you feel like oh, like you're gonna show off how brave you can be and how brave you really are. You're not scared anymore.
I wanted to show you that. It's so true. You're doing amazing. It's been a long time. It's a scary situation out of a forced comfort zone. You are like, to me, almost one of my own heroes, because heroes are people who show resiliency and strength, in my opinion. And I know that they're not perfect. We're all human. Nobody expects our heroes to be perfect. We're human beings. And that's the beauty of the human experience. But you continuing to show up for your dad and your mom too, and continuing to show up for yourself. You've had so many medical issues too. We all know how trauma affects the body. And I'm just really impressed at the strength that you possess and that you keep inspiring me. You're like, let's do a live. Let's do this. I'm like, okay, Liz. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do this. Go big or go home.
It's how they are gonna be not abusing any more children because we're being the adults we needed. We're trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say more like trying to be the adults that we always were looking for someone to be. Whether it was our parent or not, we were all looking for someone, hoping it was our parent, you know, but we're becoming what we needed the whole time.
Totally. I always say this because I do have a tech dictionary. It's like right here somewhere, but it is, we are ESL. Scientology is our first language. We landed here from planet Starship Xenu. I'm not even kidding. It's like honestly embarrassing. It's embarrassing to like drop Scientology words and nobody knows what you're talking about and then have to be like, oops, I mean this.
Yeah. Because at one point I believed that this was all real.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the kicker of the part.
It is. That's the kicker of the part. That's where the empathy is. The point is not lost on us because we have known that we could be fooled before, but we also don't doubt our judgment to the point of letting other people make our choices. So it's a fine line to walk. That's literally why I picked that name, the gray zone, the gray zone, because it's like not black, not white. We're always in the middle.
Get in that middle.
And that's the nuance of the human experience. Like straight up, there's not a wrong reference. It's like the person in front of you. So there's no universal laws, and as far as I'm concerned, other than just like moral codes about how to be not harmful.
Or be better than what you were that you had.
I try to always keep in mind, just like it's really simple, but if I could just leave this earth maybe a little bit better than the way I came it and into it, then it would be worth it. And it's such a small goal, but it's kind of a hard task to accomplish.
Yeah. I get that. I can get that very well.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, our angel from Angelville. We love
Did you hear what the new name was? It was. Did you watch the whole thing?
I did not. I have 20 minutes or 30 minutes left. I might have missed it.
No, so the new name that we decided was going to be the Dyke-tastic Duo.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I heard that.
I was like, wow. And Nora came up with it, and I'm like, oh, it's sticking. It's sticking. That's all I can say. Dyke-tastic Duo. And that way we have our regular shows with a Dyke-tastic Duo.
I love that. I love that.
God damn it.
We've been talking about like essentially a few of us who just talk all the time. Like we're just already talking all the time. We were saying maybe we'll try to get together a day where we could do like already pre-planned programming for everybody. So it's like, I mean, we'll never get like a TV guide for SPTV because everyone's just on there. Like we have to do it when we can and whatever. But it would be fun to have like a day where we do, you know, a morning meditation with Laura FM, but it's like rock meditation. And then, you know, we get to DJ and then even have a muster with Serge where he calls out a roll call on anybody who hasn't spoken out yet.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's going to be great because that way you're right. We're never going to get a TV guide, but at least if we can make things as easy for everyone else, then it'll work out perfectly.
And fun. I mean, it's kind of actually more fun when we work together. It's just nice to have that community, you know?
Absolutely. I am all for everyone working together because together we can do great things together.
We're going to do it all. Okay, so we're gonna hop off. You guys hop onto Lara's stream. Please make sure you etc. We need a lot more people to hit the like button on this video than have been watching this full time.
Absolutely.
For those algorithms and things. We were just all the most Tone 40 upsets to ever postulate the clearing of this sector of the Marcab Confederacy. Now we're just the queerest bunch of awesomeness issuing the smackdown AF. I couldn't agree more. That should be our mantra, or like, you know, our intro. Oh, oops. This is how we this is our new digital life. Sometimes we click wrong buttons.
Smash the like and hit the subscribe to be promoted in there.
Thank you guys all for being here.
Absolutely. And it's a pleasure talking to you. And I can't wait to, you know, keep doing it.
We're going to do it often. I think we're going to do some kind of mental health check-ins. We haven't decided what day or anything, but we were talking about doing a weekly mental health check-in for each other, just talking about our own mental health and sharing it with people and practices and all that. So thank you guys all for being with us here tonight and having fun while we talk about OSA and bull baiting and celebrating Liz's sobriety and like literally being like, it's just a bull bait. It's just a bull bait. Like straight up, like just not giving in and doing healthier things instead. I'm just like shocked by your strength and your resiliency. So keep it up.
Thank you. I will.
We'll see you guys all soon, okay?
Absolutely. Bye.